and welcome to It's Up to You, a show about amazing stories from amazing people like you and me. Today, I have the pleasure to have Miss Carmen Caldwell on the show. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. So glad to be here.
You're welcome. I'm so glad you're here. When I heard you were coming on the show, I got excited because I've heard you before,
yes,
and I know you are just a dynamite, you know, and you have something that you're very passionate about. Why don't you tell me about that? Tell me a little about that.
So my passion is working with youth and supporting them in overcoming some pains of the choices that their parents might be making. Sometimes students don't often have control over where they live. We don't get to choose who our family is. We don't get to choose our environment. So I'm there to support them, work with them through workshops, through empowerment courses, through coaching, supporting them in dealing with, getting over, so they aren't coming out so angry and damaged, because I know that. I lived in a household where my father was addicted to drugs and my mom worked a lot to kind of not have to deal with him and his stuff, and my sister was older and beautiful and smart, and my brother was into athletics, and I just felt like I didn't have a place and didn't know where. And out of that came this girl who was insecure and angry and hurt. Yeah. And so I, you know, masked that in a lot of things that I thought I was masking, but didn't realize that they were just outcomes of that emptiness, that hole that I had. And so supporting you through that. I love the girls with the attitude, because I know I know where it's coming from, and so trying to support them through overcoming.
Well, how did you get from that point, you know, of your life where not figuring out, not knowing who you were, and pushing things down, and you know, and to where you are now? How was that journey? How did it happen? Yeah,
I'm glad you used the word journey, because that's exactly what I would call it, and still on. I think we're ever evolving. I always say we're never grown, we're ever growing.
That's right.
Ever growing.
Right.
And so for me, it was finding a true relationship with my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I mean, for me, that was a defining moment for me. I think, and also there was a difference for me. I think about 13, I was in church and around church, but it wasn't until about 10 years later, I was about 23, had moved to Seattle with a job opportunity, and was out there by myself. With nobody but me and the Lord, and really had some time to kind of see myself, not through the lens of my family or my friends or who I should be, but who God really created me to be. And thankfully, was able to find a church where they really supported, nurtured, and affirmed me, and God began to peel back layers and heal, and here I am today, continuing the process.
Because I know that was a journey, because when you stop to look back and then to get healed, and in that healing process, there's a lot of things that come up, that some things maybe you've forgotten. Some things you forgot how hard it hurt. I wanted to forget. But when you relive those things and those wounds begin to heal, that's power.
It
right
is power.
There. That's powerful. Because at that point, you're able to now go and empower other people.
Exactly.
You know, through your experience.
Exactly. You know? And that's where I am. And I will say, part of that process, and sometimes in certain communities it's taboo, but I did do Christian counseling. I went and did my work. You know, the things I had to do, and even the gut-wrenching things that we don't want to face, like I was saying, where things come up that you thought you had dealt with, and you realize I had not fully healed from that. You know, maybe there was a scab on there, but it was not healing.
You still had some scar tissue.
Still had scar tissue. And so I am now just supporting you through that and helping them in their decisions that they make. I tell them, when you talk about scars, I say, yeah, you look at me and I made it, but I want you to have different choices, different decisions, not to use your anger as an excuse to behave in certain ways. And so how can we support that and do that in a way that's positive and healthy? Whereas I did in a way that now I have scars. And I tell them, I said, baby, Miss Carmen had scars. And I don't want you to have the scars that I had.
Because those scars, sometimes it's good to have a scar.
Yeah, it's a reminder.
It's a reminder.
Of God's healing.
That's right.
Yeah, it can be. It can be looked that way. But also, it also is a reminder that there was once a wound. And so sometimes, some wounds we don't have to deal with. Some wounds that we can not have to face, because if we're able to look at someone else's life and learn from that life and not have to experience that pain. We might have our own pain, but that pain might not have to be ours.
That's right. So now you also are a life coach.
I am.
So tell me a little bit about that and how that works. Now, do you coach just the child, or do you coach the entire family, or how does that work?
A little bit of both. Through the youth ministry that I work with, I do a lot with the youth, coaching them, supporting them, talking with them through things. But you can't do youth ministry without talking to parents, without supporting parents, the environment where they're being raised and supporting parents, and who, you know, my hat's off to some of these parents who are, you know, doing the best they can with what they have. And so I'm able to come alongside and say, let's look at things differently, because sometimes it's easy when you're, you know, it's the forest for the trees, you can't see the forest. And to have someone come in on the outside to kind of share, open up some new insights, experiences, and it's different sometimes to see your child in the lens of someone else, being able to share with gifts like, wow, did you know your child enjoyed this? Or did you know this great thing, this gift? I didn't even know that about my child.
Wow.
And for parents and children to share stories. Our children don't know the stories of their parents. Yeah, that's why your mama's angry. You might not know, but now you know the story. That's true. And you don't have to relive it.
That's true, because I remember being angry myself and going through this phase, and it was probably around 20, 21, somewhere around that. And I'm like, what's going on? Why do I feel the way I feel? Felt like I needed someone to talk to. Didn't know who that person was. Didn't know who I should speak with. You know, because some of the things that happened when I was a child, you know, I couldn't tell anyone. I didn't want to tell anyone, and I didn't know who I could safely trust at this point. So I understand that. And they need an advocate like you that they can be able to speak with, someone who's gone through it, and you made it, like you said, and give them hope that they can make that. Because I remember that feeling. I remember sitting in my then dining room, which would also double as my office. Just thinking about, I wish I had somebody to talk to. I didn't know what to do, and I just reached out to God. I cried to God, and one of the things that He allowed me to do was just to start writing things down, and that was therapeutic, getting that out. It didn't go anywhere. No one read it but me, but it helped me just to get it out when I couldn't find anyone to share with. So I applaud you for what you're doing. I want to encourage you to continue doing what you're doing. And I do want to ask you now, are you partnering with any other organizations? Because if you, say for instance, if you're coaching a child and you see that the parent may still be in their stuff, you know, what do you do with that situation? Are you able to partner with someone else to help?
So I am very much a community-based person, I guess would be the word. I believe in community. I believe in being, you know, putting the neighbor back in hood, and so how we can support one another. So there are organizations that I do refer out to, because there might be things that are required that I just don't have the skill base to do and go into some depths that they might need. And so referring out to different community organizations that support whatever that need is. So when I'm in a community, finding out the community in which I live, I'm very much connected and know where to send people for resources, for further support and development. So,
and that's wonderful. And so you're a youth pastor?
I am. I am in Griffin, Georgia. New Mercy Baptist Church is where I'm youth pastor.
Wow. So you just got a full plate, full of love, full of passion for this, and that's what's needed. That's what's required. And when you talk, you just light up.
I do. I love it. I do. As much as I say sometimes, you know, you have those days where it's like, oh, these kids, they draw me right back in. That's right. You know, because that's how you know it's calling. That's how you know it's calling.
That's beautiful. So someone that's gone through what you've gone through, moving forward, I would want to applaud you for taking the steps and continuing to go. Thanking you for being on the show and sharing your passion, sharing your purpose. And I'm just amazed. I'm just amazed at what God continues to do in our lives. He can take the tragedy and make it a triumph. We'll be right back.